Hi everyone. All right. This is Angela from Angela Wolf Video doing Video Tech Tuesdays. Of course, as soon as I go live, it's when my neighbor's dog wants to bark. That's always how it works though. So, welcome everyone. Video Tech Tuesdays is when I get on live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And we talk about video tech specs and gear, and it's a lot of fun, I think. And because I'm just kind of geeky like that, and I like to talk video stuff. So basically all you got to do is watch the video, and then if you have any questions, please comment just in the stream, and then if I get a chance, I will absolutely respond to you today. I'm keeping an eye on my multiple feeds as much as I can, and then if you're watching this later, or you're watching this basically you're not watching it live, just use the hashtag replay in your comments so I know I didn't get a chance to answer it, and that way I can answer it next week when we go live again. Cool. So let's see where we're going today. Today we are going to be talking about how to use Zoom, which is a topic I've done a lot of videos on because it's honestly what everyone's using right now. You know, when you say video for the average person today, it's a Zoom video, right? So we've covered a lot of Zoom talks, but today is very specific about Zoom for the holidays. So while we've talked about how to do Zoom for your conferences and your corporate meetings, today we're going to talk about more of the personal side on how to use it more effectively this holiday season. You know, Thanksgiving's next week, and then we've got Christmas, Hanukkah, all of the good winter holidays coming up. So I wanted to talk about how we can do that kind of safely by, joining our friends and our families virtually instead of having a big group dinner or a big group meeting like we typically do every year. So that's what I'm going to be talking about this week. And honestly, I want you to know that I do try to steer away from, giving tutorials that require you to spend a lot of money, because I know that's not always feasible for people. But today I will be recommending purchases, and the main reason for that is I think it's going to be an investment. If you buy this for Thanksgiving, you can use it for all of your winter holidays. You can use it for all of your personal, hanging out with friends, and then of course all of your work, corporate meetings, Zoom meetings, all of the work stuff you've been doing. So, in the very beginning of COVID, I'm like, we're going to be doing this for a couple of weeks. Don't worry about buying a microphone. Now it's like, okay, this is, virtual and work from home is here to stay for quite a while. So maybe it's a good time to invest in a microphone and in a better camera and that kind of stuff. And what a better time to do that than for the holidays, so you are prepped and ready to see all of your friends and family. So my very first thing we want to talk about is setting up your Zoom meeting. So the host who's going to be hosting the event is going to schedule a meeting. Let me pull this up so you can kind of follow along and see exactly what I'm doing. If you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, if you're watching on Instagram, you're going to just have to listen ahead or listen along, and then you can always look it up on YouTube afterwards if you want to kind of get a visual for it. So let me switch over to here. So I am using the Zoom app, and I think that's really key because it works a lot better than using Zoom in your web browser. So absolutely, I always suggest please download the app. That part's free. Use it on your computer versus using it in like Google Chrome or Firefox or any of those kind of web browsers. So first we're going to go to the schedule button. Now we're going to add a topic name, obviously do Thanksgiving, holidays, whatever you want to name it. Pick your date and your time. This is a little less important You want to make sure that you kind of start it early enough. And if people join later, that's absolutely fine. Along with that is the duration. So you might want to make the duration a little bit longer, like, oh, we're probably only going to be meeting for 2 hours. Well, let's do it for 3 just in case. But as long as the host is logged on and you go past your duration, it's not a problem. The Zoom meeting will continue. I do automatically generate your meeting ID. Now for password, I suggest changing this to something that's really easy to remember. Sorry, my keyboard's all the way over there, guys. So I would change it to just like your last name. Like you can't. Thanksgiving doesn't fit. I've tried. There's a limit on how many characters it can be. So just change it to whoever's hosting its last name. Something easy that's easy to remember, easy to tell people. Do not select the waiting room. Have that disabled. And here's why. The waiting room is a pain in the butt. So what happens is once someone joins, they're put in a waiting room and they can't actually join the meeting until the host clicks accept. Now, in theory, that's a great idea because then only the people the host accepts can join. But what happens is the host is busy talking with people, or, it's the holidays. You're going to be busy cooking dinner and getting things together, and you're not going to see that people are like in your waiting list queue. Often it's super easy to miss that, and then your friends and family are going to just be waiting around, not getting to be in the Zoom meeting. So do not select waiting room. For the video, host and participants should both be on for video. Audio should be telephone and computer audio, or it's also labeled as both if you're using the web browser. And then calendar is great because you just say, like if everyone you work with uses a Google Calendar, or everyone in your family in this situation, do that. If not, just do other calendars. Not super important. Go down here to advanced options, all right? Enable join before host. Again, if you're doing this in the web browser, it's going to say allow participants to join anytime. Or if you're doing it through the computer app, it's enable join before host. Again, super important because I can't tell you how many times I've scheduled a Zoom call for friends and family, and I'm just like swamped with work, and like something comes up, and then like no one can join the Zoom meeting because I haven't actually started it yet. So enable join before host is just in case things are getting a little crazy on the day of and you can't jump on right at that, scheduled time. People can still join in, they can talk and can kind of like get the party going before you jump on. So those are all of my recommended settings for your Zoom meeting. Then you just hit save, and then it's going to give you the whole, long Zoom meeting invite. You just copy this and you just email it out to everyone. And what I recommend doing is email this to everyone as soon as you schedule it. And then again, the morning of your party, your, either Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever it is, resend out that email with all the information. Because I find that you send it out early and half the people put in their calendar and they're like on top of it, right? And then the other half just like delete it and don't even know you sent it somehow. And then they're like super lost the whole day. So send it ahead of time and then again the day of. Now, what we're going to do is go back into our general settings for Zoom. Just in general, these are great settings that you want to have enabled at all times. So we're going to go to little gear to settings. Bop. If you go to the video setting, make sure your, what is this fun thing called? Your camera is set to 16:9 widescreen. Make sure my video is HD enabled. Very important because otherwise it's going to be terrible quality and you don't want that. And that's probably all you need for this one. So let's get back. There we go. So these are all of our Zoom setup to put together our meeting. Now, for Zoom, if you have a basic account, you can only host for 40 minutes and then it closes everything and then you have to reopen it and then resend a link, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. So this is one of those things I'm telling you you should purchase. Now, you can do a month-to-month plan with Zoom. If you do a pro account, it's $15 a month. Thanksgiving is on November 26th. So you set all this up ahead of time. You can do that in your basic free account. Not a problem. What you do then, on November 26th in the morning, go click, I want to upgrade to pro just for the month to month, not the annual. You'll get charged that day. You have the pro account until December 26th is when you're going to get billed again. So if you are meeting on Christmas Day, you can get both Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I believe Hanukkah is in between those two dates. You can get all of those holidays in with 1 month subscription, and then just make sure you cancel it on December 25th. And so you don't get charged the next day. Or if you don't mind that extra $15, just then you get charged for 2 months, not a big deal. But that's kind of like one reason that it's totally worth getting the pro account, at least this year for the holidays, is because you can kind of like hit 2 holidays at once. Only the host needs to have the pro account. Anyone else can join with the basic account. That's completely free. Don't even bother explaining to your grandmother how to sign up for it, that kind of stuff, right? You just have you or whoever's the host join as the pro account. Everyone else can just join normally. So that is the whole Zoom setup. Now, I have a couple of add-ons that will make your Zoom really good for the holidays. And again, this is going to be like different than what I typically talk about when you're doing maybe like a one-on-one Zoom conference call. So the first thing I think you need to buy is a detachable webcam. You're going to absolutely want one that's in HD 1080. And it's going to run you between $50 to $70, depending where you get it, which one you get. I love Logitech. That's what I use. But there's lots of different brands out there. You can get them from Target, B&H, Best Buy. Pretty much everyone's got them. So the reason that I would highly recommend this is that not only is it going to be better quality than your computer. Most computer built-in webcams aren't that full 1080. You're going to get better audio because instead of using the audio on your computer with a tiny little microphone, you're going to be using the audio that's coming from the webcam, which typically has a bigger, better microphone to use. Lastly, my favorite part about using a webcam that's detachable, that's not attached to your computer, is that you can move it around. You don't have to pick up this computer and awkwardly try and like swirl it around, and you don't know what they're seeing and you don't know what's going on when you're trying to look around the room or show other people, which again, during a conference call with your boss, not necessary. But we're thinking of like having you and your parents all like sitting in one room. Maybe it's just you and your husband, I don't know, you and your very small circle of people eating together at a table, and you want to share it with the rest of your family on Zoom. This way you can pick up and just move it around. And that's what I'm doing right now. And show other people all over the place. And it's just a lot easier. Boop. All right. So I absolutely recommend doing that. So like I said, just pulled one up. Make sure says HD, and then always double check because they like to lie to you. Not lie. They like to be a little tricky. Technically, 720 can be considered HD. It's not full HD. Do not believe them. So full HD 1080 is what you want. It's right here. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So that's absolutely number one thing I would suggest buying if you're only going to buy one of these things I'm suggesting. The next thing I would suggest is to buy a microphone. And if you can tell, I've got multiple microphones on today. So I love microphones. That's what's going to be able so that people can hear you. And that's so important. Something that's almost more important in video than the video itself. So we want to make sure that, everyone watching your Zoom call and on your Zoom family dinner can hear each other, right? So what I would recommend, I haven't personally used it, but I know a lot of people who love it. It's cheap for a microphone, and it's built explicitly for using it on your computer. So you don't need any extra fancy things like this that, you have to connect the microphone to and then connect that to your computer. You just plug the microphone USB directly into your computer. This is called the Snowball from Blue. So it's a USB microphone. It's a little ball, and you just sit it down and you just talk into it, plug it into your computer. You call it a day. It's $50. Again, pretty cheap for a microphone. And I know it kind of sounds like, oh man, Angela, you're really asking us to buy a lot of stuff right now. One, it's an investment. Two, think about how we're using them for the holidays, right? So this is what I'm thinking of, is that the computer is sitting down on one end of the table. We've got the webcam up there so it can see everybody. And then, of course, we can move the microphone. Instead of being attached to that computer, move it all the way to the middle of the table. Move it close to whoever's sitting at the table so that the people on your Zoom can hear you really well. You're not screaming. You're not getting background noise. It just makes the whole situation a lot nicer. And because we're assuming on this call is that you might have one or two other people in the room with you for dinner, you can't just use your headset that I normally recommend using, right? We need something that multiple people can talk into at once. And speaking of, we need something that multiple people can listen to at once. So I suggest getting external speakers. You can go super cheap with this and just get like the little portable kind that just like plug in with an aux cord. You can get fancy and get Bluetooth speakers so that you can actually, again, move the speakers to be closer to the people who are listening in the room. So if your computer's over there, the sound's not coming out from down on the other side of the table. The sound is coming through over at your end of the table where you're sitting, and it's just a little bit easier to hear what's going on. So that's something that, like, you probably just have an extra pair of speakers at home. I mean, I do, but also I know I got like weird gear, but it's something that's cheap. It's easy. Anything that kind of like hooks up to your computer, go for it. Now, the last one that I want to suggest, and I think this is going to be like one of the cheapest things I'm suggesting and also the most fun, in my weird opinion, is an HDMI cable. So, boop. It's, between $10 to $15 depending on the size you buy. Plug your computer in to your TV. And now, suddenly, instead of trying to see everyone on this tiny little 13-inch laptop screen, you're seeing everyone on your big TV screen, and it's going to be so much easier to see everyone, and it's going to feel more intimate. It's going to feel more like people are there with you when you're having a big party, and it's more fun. I've done this for group events where, I kind of have my laptop down on the mantle. I plug it directly into the TV, and then I've got the giant TV screen to see everything. I can, because I have the detachable webcam, I can move it and place it, on top of the TV if I want. I can place it under the TV, wherever it kind of makes it look like I'm looking at the webcam when I'm watching the Zoom. Then you have the detachable microphone, so you can move that much closer to you so it's not far away. And then you either can use, if you do that, you can actually just use your TV speakers, and you can just completely bypass that buying a speaker section we talked about. If you plug it directly into your TV, now you're using your TV speakers. So absolutely get an HDMI cable. I would suggest anything between 6 to 15 feet, depending on where your house is kind of set up, where how close you can put the laptop to the television. So the last but not least, don't forget when you're setting up your Zoom is to select what what your inputs are. Because we're using maybe a different webcam than usual, a different microphone than usual, just make sure that everything is set up ready to go. So let me switch this over. You're gonna get a little like, woo, like my technical terms there. So we're gonna, as you can see, we're kind of getting that like mirrored effect because I'm looking into my Zoom application. But if you go down here to the audio button, the little microphone, you click on the arrow, make sure your microphone is set to what you want it to be set to the whatever the external microphone you're using. See, it wants to use my webcam, but I've got a really fancy microphone plugged in, so we want to make sure our microphone is selected. Go to the video and select, and you can pick the webcam, or I'm using my streaming software. But make sure you select your external webcam, not your internal one, if you have one. So that is pretty much my rundown of what you should do to kind of set up the perfect Zoom holiday dinner situation so that you can be at the table with your immediate family and eating, but you can easily share your holiday with your extended friends and family. I know this year is super weird and nobody likes it, and I'm really sorry. But this is one way that we can stay connected and still stay safe. So, as per usual, if you are thinking of doing a video for your brand, for your company, we're getting into close to Black Friday, right? We're going to be into all of that fun stuff of the holidays. You think you need to do some marketing with video, go to bit.ly/AWV checklist. If you're on Instagram, check it out in my link tree in my bio. This checklist is absolutely free to download. It's going to go through all the pre-production stuff you need to make a brand video. So it'll help you think about your content, how many cameras you need, how big of a crew, are you going to hire actors, are you going to just get people at your company to be in it? It makes you think through all of these things that are super important before you start a brand video. Now, you do that, you download completely free, go through it and decide, oh, I can do this myself, and you go make your video. Or you say, whoa, this is way bigger than what I was expecting it to be. Don't worry, give me a call and I'll be happy to walk you through it and talk with you about your options. So go to bit.ly/callawv. Again, it's in my link tree in my bio on Instagram. Schedule a free call. We'll talk for half an hour, talk about what your project is and what you're looking to do, and go from there. So, with all of that being said, we will be back next week to talk about some fun gear that you can be getting right before the holidays. And until then, please comment and let us know what your video tech questions are. We'll be happy to answer them. This is Angela from Angela Wolf Video, and